Alrighty, good afternoon, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana Weather, bringing you a quick forecast update. Chance of some stronger thunderstorms later tonight, which we'll talk about in this update. Latest update from the Storm Prediction Center does have a slight risk for severe weather, really just along the Ohio River counties. Marginal risk mostly for the rest of it. In fact, if I just go ahead and put it over here into our GR Earth computer program, you see that a little bit better. Slight risk includes areas around Evansville and basically counties along the Ohio River. Now, basically, this is not a strong thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm threat tonight. I'm just going to go ahead and lay that out on the table. I'll show you the basics of why in a minute, but by and large, it's mostly going to be due to the late hour that it arrives. But nonetheless, they do have a slight risk here along the Ohio River, with the areas in green here being the marginal threat. Now, the way this shakes out as far as the probabilities go, and by the way, you can see the moderate risk out to our west, so that's where the majority of the severe weather threat will be arranged today. Tornado probabilities look like this. 2% probability comes up all the way to the river here. I think that's a little bit too strong. I'm not even sure any of Kentucky deserves to be in that. Just not a whole lot going to happen here tonight, and I'll show you that in a second here. Wind probabilities, that's what our slight risk is for, is up to the 15% probability just for counties along the Ohio River. 5% down below that. Hail probabilities, 5% for just a small corner of the area, almost non-existent for us. Hail, not a big threat tonight. Here's why I'm going to just go out on a limb and show you that it's not going to be that much of a threat for us tonight. Now, I'm not going to rule out the option of a few warnings here, but this isn't going to be an outbreak by any means. We put the radar here into motion. You can see not a whole lot going on through the daytime. In fact, let me just go back to my program here. Let me take off the SPC stuff, put on the radar here in general, and you can see there's just not a whole lot going on out there yet. Starting to see a little bit of development out here to the west. No squall line or anything has developed yet, though, so that's something we'll keep an eye on for the daytime. Put satellite on here, though. We got a good deal of cloud cover in our area. That's going to work in our favor to keep our severe probabilities down here today. Any sunshine, of course, would be only enhancing that probability. There's some chance that maybe as this all works off, this clear slot could come over us this afternoon and we see a few hours of heating, but there's still some questions about that. So regardless, as we put future radar here into motion, by this afternoon it does develop a pretty intense squall line out to our west. That's where I think the focus of the severe weather will stay by and large. As it moves over towards us, here we are moving into the state of Indiana, and notice this is midnight tonight. So the later in time this goes, the more weakening this storm system should be. And really, by the time it comes over us, it doesn't look that severe. It just becomes more of a heavy rain threat. It's more of a blob of rain rather than a thin, organized squall line like we saw out here a little bit earlier in the day. Now, just a couple of other radar views really quickly. The WRF ARW, which is another high-res model, it takes it to us about 1 a.m. here crossing the Wabash River and in. And the WRF NMM, which is another high-res model, look at this. Well, it doesn't cross the river until 4 a.m. So it's the latest of all the models. But regardless, I think after midnight is going to be when we're facing the threat for any of those stronger thunderstorms tonight. So if you have evening plans, church tonight or whatever, I think you should be fine for that. But certainly the later we go into the evening hours, the closer that will get to us. But by and large, I think it's mostly going to be an overnight event, probably more of an early overnight event from the way things are looking right now. So I won't rule out a severe thunderstorm by any means, but it's not going to be an outbreak, I don't think. Here we are. You can see a good deal of cloud cover. It's kind of some low clouds, so we've got some filtered sunshine in places out there today going on. It's not a completely cloudy day. There is some sunshine, but there's a good deal of clouds with it around the area. That erodes this afternoon according to the high-res data, and we actually go with sort of a mostly sunny sky. Now we'll see whether that verifies or not. If that does verify, that could increase our chances of some instability ramping up. But as you can see, the cloud deck thickens and comes back in as that rain moves towards us, so it won't last forever. So let me show you a couple of other things really quickly working in our favor. We do have, as you see here, let me just zoom in on this a little bit for you, help you be able to see it just a little bit better here. Whoops, let me go back here. There we go. I don't want to click on that and pull up a mediagram for you here, but let me zoom in on this a little bit. And you can see here is Indiana. In fact, let me just highlight it here for you. And hold on just a second, folks. Got to get the right tool to work here. It's just not wanting to work for me. Here's the state of Indiana right here. All right, so this gives you a little picture. I know, especially if you're on a cell phone or a tablet, this can be a little bit harder to see, but there's the state of Indiana. And this is what we're looking at now as bulk shear. So this is wind energy in the atmosphere. What I'm just wanting to show you here, plenty of wind energy. To get organized severe weather, you want a good 35, 40 units of wind energy to be able to do that, and we've got 50 to even 70 units here around the area. So there's plenty of wind energy. That's not a problem to work with. However, instability, that will be our limiting factor here. In fact, as we put instability into motion, excuse me, this is a product called CAPE, Convective Available Potential Energy. It's a measure of instability in the atmosphere, and just want you to notice here really quickly with me that most of the instability stays out of the area. We don't get much of it at all here in the state. In fact, this begins at about 150 units, and we don't even have that much in the state of Indiana. And by the time the evening hours comes, it's really starting to wane. So I have some doubts, in my opinion, as to even the legitimacy of that slight risk extending into Indiana at this point. It just doesn't look like a big event. Now, with that said, could we see some strong thunderstorms tonight? Yes, we could. We could see some gusty storms, but it may be something where we see stronger storms on the order of 45, maybe even up to 50 mile per hour winds. But that's below severe criteria. You got to be above 57 miles per hour to get severe criteria, or you have to have an inch hail to get to severe criteria. And I'm just doubtful that we're going to be able to reach that for most storms tonight. I'm not going to say that we can't for some. It's possible we might get an isolated cell or two, but I don't look for this to be a big outbreak. But the bottom line, just keep your weather radios on tonight, and you'll be fine, folks. If you like a good thunderstorm to go to sleep with, it looks like this could be a nice little thunderstorm, a garden variety thunderstorm event with some stronger cells in it. Not a big outbreak of severe weather by any means, maybe an outbreak of lightning and heavy rain, but that's the way it's looking to me, the way it's shaking out right now. Not a big threat tonight, but it is spring, so it's nice to see some of this action coming back in. I'll take this over snow any day. Here's the way 10 days looking out for you. You can go to southernindianaweather.com, click on 10-day forecast. Upper 60s to near 70 today. Right now our temperatures, we're hanging in there at the noon hour. We're not quite there yet. The clouds are limiting that, but as I go back here, let me put our METAR data here for you. We've already made it into the low 60s over portions of the area, but where that cloud deck is a little thicker, we're still hanging out into the upper 40s. So 60s probably the most likely today. 70s are going to be a little bit harder to obtain, but maybe along the Ohio River that could be a possibility. But anyway, some partial sun, at least for some of us, a good deal of clouds for most of us. Warm, slight chance of rain and thunderstorms through the afternoon hours, not a big threat. Mostly comes in during the overnight hours. Again, a strong to severe thunderstorm possible, but it's not a huge threat tonight. We're only going to go down to about 49 or so. That'll continue to fall, and tomorrow, it's just not going to be a warm day by any means at all. We're only going to a high temperature tomorrow in the mid 40s after things fall a little bit more. And some showers likely in the morning. There should be some clearing, I think, during the afternoon hours. But then look at this. We're starting to get cold again. 30 for your low on Thursday night. Only up to 42. I do think there's a chance of some rain and some wet snowflakes mixing in on Friday morning. This shouldn't be anything that really sticks. It's not going to be that big of a deal. A high of around 42 degrees. Clears out and we go down to 25 cold degrees by the time you hit Saturday morning. So if you're going out to the community yard sale in Ferdinand or things like that, folks, it's going to be a cold morning. Bundle up. Saturday mostly sunny for your high, but only around 43 for your high. Another cold day. The warming trend does begin after that. By the time you hit on Sunday, we've got another chance of showers later in the day and into the overnight hours. But at least we warm back up into the 50s. And look at this, mid 60s to even near 70 by the time you get into the last part of the extended outlook. So we got a couple of cold days coming behind this powerful cold front moving through, but we do have a nice break from it after that. All right, folks, that is it for this severe weather update. Keep it tuned right here to Southern Indiana Weather throughout the day and the evening. We'll have updates, and of course, if anything changes and it becomes more of a threat, we'll come back with another video. But as it looks right now, just some garden variety thunderstorms with maybe a stronger thunderstorm or two. We'll keep you informed. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.